Finally, the international break is over and we can focus on real football again as the Premier League returns for week number 8, and there are some juicy fixtures. We're going to go through the fixtures and my predictions. Welcome to the Footy Network. Afternoon all, hope you had a good international break and welcome back to the Footy Network, and we have loads of fixtures to look forward to this weekend. Let me know as always in the comments down below how you think your club is gonna fare and who are they playing. If you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the Footy Network if you're new here. And don't forget, if you're looking for any of the weekend action and you need a VPN, then make sure to check out Surfshark, where we can offer you over 80% discount on it, as well as an additional 4 extra months for completely free using code FFTV. So scan this QR code or click on the link that's pinned into the comments. And let's jump into the action. So we're gonna head over to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as the weekend football gets underway there in this London derby between Spurs and West Ham United. We know the West Ham fans hate the Spurs fans. We know the Spurs fans hate the Arsenal fans, and the Arsenal fans hate the Spurs fans, but everyone just hates the Chelsea fans. I can't keep up with the politics in London, I really can't. But let's refresh your memories, because Spurs are under pressure just before the international break. Postecoglou and his boys blew a 2-goal lead at half-time to lose to Brighton. And of course, West Ham got their win against Ipswich, and everything's hunky-dory now for Lopetegui. But I think the pressure on this game is going to be on Postecoglou after that collapse. Spurs are going to need to come out, impress the home fans, and come out with a win. And I think they're going to do it. I think Spurs will win this one quite comfortably, because West Ham did beat Ipswich, who are still finding their feet in the Premier League. And I can see Spurs taking this comfortably, 3-1. What do you guys think on this one? Let me know in the comments. So the second game of the weekend takes us to Portman Road, and it's Ipswich versus Everton. Ipswich still in search for their first win in the Premier League this campaign. No wins in 7, but quite a few draws. And Everton, I feel, are slowly kicking into gear. Sean Dyche turning back into Stone Cold Steve Austin, getting a good draw against Newcastle, and that followed a win in the previous week as well. And they're slowly starting to come back to some kind of form, if you can call it that. This will be a tight and ugly match, but I think there will be a few goals in it. I can see Sean Dyche doing a Dyche here and getting a result for Everton. And I think Ipswich will struggle to play against Dyche ball. I've been impressed with McKenna. Delap's been scoring for Ipswich as well, but plucky old Ipswich are still without a win, and I predict that they end up still winless after this one. So I'm going Ipswich 1, Everton 2. A huge away win. Do you agree with that or not? Let me know in the comments. The next 3 PM kickoff will be at Old Trafford in Manchester, as Manchester United will host Brentford. And yes, Erik ten Hag will still be in the dugout, despite half the United fan losing their heads that Ineos did not sack him, despite not beating Villa and not beating Porto. But he didn't lose, and the confusion was epic in the United fan base. But apparently he's still under pressure. Some are saying he's on a rolling game contract. Who knows at the moment with Manchester United? And Brentford, who are just scoring in the first minute of the last 3 or 4 games, didn't quite do it in the last game, but did it in the second minute. This seems to be the only trophy they've ever been able to win in their history. Didn't even know it was a trophy. And yet, in those games, they failed to win most of them. But this is going to be a tight match. There is a lot of pressure and there's a lot of anxiety in that Manchester United fan base. And Ten Hag is going to have to pull a result out. But Brentford are a team that Manchester United have traditionally struggled with over the last few seasons. They lost to them 4-0 a couple of seasons ago when Ten Hag first came in. And I think this one has another draw written all over it and question marks again being asked in the fan base. Can we sack him after a draw or not? So I'm going for Manchester United 1, Brentford won in this one. What do you guys think? Craven Cottage is match number 4 of the Saturday programme, as Fulham will host Aston Villa in the Premier League, and I think this is going to be a very tasty match. Both teams are in very good form, even though Villa just drew their last one and Fulham lost to Manchester City. But when you look at how they played, I think they put up a real good show against Manchester City. And I think this is going to be an entertaining football matches with 2 of my favourite managers in the league in terms of their quality in Marco Silva and of course Emre for Aston Villa. This will be a battle of the wits of 2 managers who like to play football. So this could be a very interesting game. And I think Fulham might sneak something out of this. I've been extremely impressed with how they've played this season, the style of football, the identity they've shown. And with Aston Villa doing really well in Europe and in the Premier League, it kind of smells of a draw. I'm going to go 2 apiece. Fulham 2, Aston Villa 2 on this one. And I think this could be a good game to watch. What do you guys think? So after St James's Park we go for this next match, as Newcastle United will host Brighton and Hove and Albion all at St James's Park. This is a battle between 6th and 7th in the league, both on the exact same points, just Brighton ahead of Newcastle on 2 more goal difference. And they are in slightly contrasting forms, it has to be said. I feel like Newcastle have done okay to get where they are, but I don't think they've been playing quality football for the start of the season, and that in itself isn't a bad thing. If you're getting the results, you would like to think, I'm sure the Geordie fans will say, that we're not playing well, we're picking up the results, and hopefully the performances will come soon. In terms of Brighton, you gotta say they were lucky against Spurs to come from 2 goals behind. They did put on a good performance in that second half. They are drawing a few too many games, having drawn with Forest as well the week before. This is going to be a tight game, but I feel Newcastle have had 2 weeks off now to get everything together, to get the cobwebs out of that result they got last week against Everton, the week before, should I say, the international break against Everton. And I think at St James's Park, you have to fancy Newcastle's chances here. It could be a high scoring game. I'm going to go 3-2 to Newcastle on this one, because Brighton plays such a high line that you do expect them to concede goals as well as score. 3 to Newcastle, 2 to Brighton. What do you guys think? St Mary's host the 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday, as Southampton will host Leicester City. And finally, Leicester City have something to shout about, as they are no longer winless in the Premier League after upsetting Bournemouth with a 1-0 victory. Southampton, on the other hand, are still winless. And I think both teams will be looking at their opposition thinking, this has to be a 3-point game for us. Come hell or high water, we need to take 3 points. But we all know Steve Cooper struggles to travel away from home, averaging 1 Premier League win a season in his time at Nottingham Forest in the Premier League, and yet to get an away win in Leicester colours this season. But this surely is his perfect opportunity, as this is the team he beat in his first year at Forest in the Premier League, so he must fancy his chances surely. But I've got to say, Southampton do play some really good football, and I think they've just been unlucky this season. I can see them picking up a result, but they will have to break down Steve Cooper's low block. This could be an attritional match, but I fancy Southampton to maybe finally show some form, and I'm going to give them a 2-0 victory. I'm going Southampton 2, Leicester City 0. What do you guys think? Let's be honest, it could end up 0-0. The Vitality Stadium will host Bournemouth versus Arsenal, and this game is the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday on Sky Sports if you're in the UK. And Bournemouth will need to set the record straight for their appalling display against Leicester before the international break. However, setting the record straight against Arsenal right now will be a hard task to do. This is a tough ground to play at. It's very tight, it's very small, it has a capacity of about 7 people, and it feels very enclosed. But Arsenal seem to always get it over Bournemouth. Even when Bournemouth were winning at the Emirates a couple of seasons ago, they were able to blow it and lose to Arsenal late on. And this one is a tough one. On paper, you think Arsenal should be comfortable winners here. But Arsenal haven't been fully clicking this season, relying on set pieces, man. They've become set piece FC so far, but their defense is so rock solid in my opinion that Bournemouth may struggle to break them down. I think this is a low scorer. I'm going to give it to Arsenal. I think I'd be silly not to, but I'm going to go Bournemouth 0, Arsenal 1. This could be 1 goal, set piece, free kick or a corner, something like that. Take the 3 points and run. And I think the Arsenal fans would be happy with that. You guys agree? Let me know in the comments. Molineux will host Wolves versus Manchester City, and Gary O'Neill, the PE teacher in my opinion, has made it through the international break. And I have no idea how he's done that. Are Wolves in that bad a financial situation that they can't afford to sack him? Or would it be too much mud in their face, or egg in their face should I say, to sack him after they offered him a new contract in the summer? Wolves are still winless and are propping up the rest of the Premier League. And this is not the team you want to be facing in such a run of poor form. In fact, there are plenty of Wolves fans who have now had enough of Gary O'Neill and want to see the back of him. His win record at the moment is atrocious. Take it back to last season. It's been ages since the Molineux faithful have seen a victory there. And I would be very surprised if they saw one on the weekend as well. But there's just something about me that makes me think maybe football is written to be weird. There's always a weird story. Could Wolves upset Man City? They've done it before. Wolves and Man City have some history of, what Wolves do against Man City have some history of pulling out some interesting results. Oh, I'd be too brave to go for a draw. I can feel it, so just remember I said I could see this one being a draw. But I'm going to chicken out and I'm going to say Manchester City end up winning this by 3-1. It's got a weird feeling it might be a draw, and save Gary O'Neill, the PE teacher, for another week. What are your thoughts on this? And Wolves fan, do you want him sacked, or are you thinking a bit more time and he can turn it around? Let me know in the comments down below. Anfield will host probably the main event of the weekend. Well, not in my opinion, but Liverpool will take on Chelsea Sunday at 4:30 PM. And that as well is on Sky Sports. In this game, there is egos in both fan bases. Both fan bases feel they're on a resurgence and they're ready to compete with the likes of Man City and Arsenal to maybe fight for a title. Maybe Liverpool more so than Chelsea fans. I don't know. Let me know if you're a Liverpool or Chelsea fan. Are you in a title race or are you in a top 4 race? This one's interesting. Chelsea have 100% started to show some form. Of course they slipped against the mighty Nottingham Forest, but then again Liverpool lost to Forest. So you can't use Forest as a barometer for this match. However, Anfield is a very tough place to go to, and this will give us a good indication of how back Chelsea are to being Chelsea, as the Chelsea fans want them to be. And I think they are getting closer, but not quite there. I think Liverpool will win this with the meanest defence in the Premier League, only conceding, I believe, 2 goals so far this season. I can see Chelsea conceding a couple. And I'm going to go Liverpool 2, Chelsea 0. But I wouldn't be disheartened, Chelsea fans. I think you are back into at least the top 4 race this season. But at Anfield, I can't see you getting anything there. You agree with me or not? As always, get your predictions in the comments down below. And then the final game of the weekend will be at the world famous City Ground, as Nottingham Forest will host Crystal Palace on the Monday Night Football. And this is going to be a huge game because, one, it is the main event of the weekend, well, at least in my opinion, and Crystal Palace are desperate to find a win from somewhere. And Forest are usually the givers of those gifts. But on paper and on form, you would expect Forest to come out on top of this, with Nuno transitioning his style of play, his philosophy, and everything else from on the field to off the field. Everything seems to be in an upward trajectory at Nottingham Forest right now. However, Crystal Palace need to click. They have struggled in moments, in games, in sections, and played well in little parts of it, but can't string together 90 minutes. This one, if Palace had already won, I would be very confident that Nottingham Forest would win this one. But this does worry me because, as I mentioned a second ago, Forest are the givers of gifts. If you need a win or you haven't scored a goal, come on, Nottingham Forest. But with that said, even with Nketiah probably scoring in this match, getting his first goal, I still think Forest will have enough to beat Crystal Palace. Forest are yet to win at the City Ground and are undefeated away from home. But for me, they should have enough, especially with Crystal Palace carrying a few injuries in some important positions. I don't think there'll be more than a goal in this game. It's either going to be 1-0 or 2-1. I'm going to go 2-1 to Nottingham Forest. And Forest finally get that first win at home at the world famous City Ground. Guys, agree with that or not? Let me know down below. Ladies and gents, that brings you up to date with all the fixtures for this weekend. Let me know what you think the main event fixture is going to be. And don't forget, we'll be doing watch-alongs on Saturday, Sunday and on Monday over on our main channel, Forest Fan TV. So make sure you subscribe there as well. If you haven't already on here though, make sure you've hit that like button. Please do subscribe to the Footy Network if you are new. Looking forward to reading your comments down below. And we'll see you on the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day.